Hey everybody, Shane here, Shoebox Legends. Thanks for joining me today for an art-themed episode here on the channel. We are going to look at two different groups of hand-drawn art cards that I have picked up this summer, both of which are just fantastic, and it makes sense to just put them together since they share that. Very unique cards here. The first ones are going to be music related, and you probably haven't seen them. And the second set is actually going to be baseball related, and I will bet you are familiar with the artist in the case of the baseball cards. So let's start with music. Those of you that know me, you know that music is a huge passion of mine. Maybe the only thing that surpasses sports cards and sports in terms of my interest level. I play the guitar, I collect vinyl records, I love listening to music, and I attend as many live shows as I can make it to every year. Just love a good live concert. And one of the things that I've bemoaned in the past here on the channel is the overall lack of music cards. Now there are exceptions to it, and here's one that I've had up in the background for you to look at, where artists have done a great job producing trading cards, like this 2016 Pearl Jam pack featuring 10 cards and a sticker. These were sold at their Wrigley Field show in Chicago back in 2016, and I just love that. I wish more artists would do that. I get that trading cards are very niche, so I understand why it's not more common, but this past summer, another favorite artist of mine, I was blown away to learn that they are doing trading cards as well, and that artist is the Dave Matthews Band. Now, musical opinion aside, I know they're not for everybody. I love the band. I've seen them live probably over 50 times now in my life, going all the way back to my high school days in the late 90s, and I've never been disappointed. Just amazing, amazing. Arguably my favorite overall live artist in my lifetime, and I've seen hundreds of concerts. So anyway, this past summer, as we've done a few times before, my wife and I took a road trip up to Saratoga Springs, New York to catch their two shows. They played a Friday and Saturday night at Saratoga Performing Arts Center, known as SPAC. And for those who are concert fans, if you live anywhere remotely close to upstate New York and you've never been to that venue, I can't recommend it enough. And what I found during the Friday night concert is the tour posters, which are very popular. The band sold trading cards, limited edition trading cards that featured a miniature version of the tour poster for that evening's concert. Now, for those who aren't music fans or don't attend concerts, you may not realize this, but posters, music posters are highly collected. They're very valuable and in high demand in many cases. They're collected just like trading cards, and they're rare, they're numbered in some cases, and people pay a lot of money for these posters, but they're difficult to store. I have a few framed posters, but I only have so much wall space, and so I just don't collect posters. But being able to get the poster itself in trading card format and in a limited print run, which we'll talk about in a second, is just awesome. So this is the card from the first night Saratoga show that we went to, which was July 5th, Friday night. It's a little bit small, but you can make it out on the bottom. July 5th, 2024 in Saratoga Springs. So the full-size poster was probably whatever it is, 20 by 30 version of this, but they made the trading card and they limited these as well. So on the back, you have a list of the tour dates, and then each card is serial numbered, in this case to just 150. So really cool. I love the serial numbering. I love the limited nature of these. I think the asking price or the retail price for these, if you were lucky enough to get one at the merchandise stand, was $25, but they would sell out very quickly, being limited to 150 or less. And then on eBay, you're probably going to pay about twice that and upwards from what I've seen to get a copy on the secondary market after the fact. So had a great evening, and this is a story for another day, but I really love this card because after the show, at about 1 a.m, my wife and I bumped into Dave Matthews in the lobby of our hotel. Turns out he was staying in the same hotel we were, about a half an hour from the venue, and he was incredibly gracious despite our inebriated state and hung out and talked with us for a few minutes. Couldn't have been kinder. And so that was my first time ever meeting him, and I will always remember that when I see this card in my collection, so that makes that extra special. If I remember, I'll throw a photo up at the end of the video. Forgot to take one that night at 1 a.m, but we did run into him again the next day before the Saturday show, and he was gracious enough to take a quick photo with us. And speaking of which, here is the card for the Saturday show, the second night. So this was the poster for that night in card form. Same deal as the one above, only this is Saturday, July 6th, and also numbered to 150. I got copy 108 of 150 here. Now, by this time, I learned about the cards on the first night, so this one I was actually able to get at the merchandise stand for about $25, which I thought was reasonable. And then this one I had to pay a little bit more than that on eBay because I missed them the first night when they sold out. So I think I paid about $40 for that first night card. So then fast forward, we're back home about a week later, and Dave Matthews Band is playing a show in Mansfield, Mass, which is only about a half hour from my house. So of course, went to that as well. And of course, was able to track down the third and final card. So I now have the card from all three shows that I was able to catch on the tour this summer, which is fantastic. What's really cool about this one, I love the artwork. The venue that they played at used to be known as Great Woods for many years. It was when I was growing up. It's now got some corporate name like the Xfinity Theater or something like that. But I always think of it as Great Woods, and so I love the artwork here. And then in this case, was even more limited. You can see this particular card was numbered to just 100 copies. And there are not, different parallels or anything. There's just one version, numbered to either 150 or 100, and that's it. And for a guy who's got a pretty rabid fan base, these are not easy to track down. And I'm really, really grateful that I got, again, the trio of shows that I was able to catch this summer. So great job, regardless of how you feel about them musically. Tip of the cap to Dave Matthews Band for producing those really awesome trading cards. I would buy a trading card for every single concert that I ever attended if that was an option, and have an entire concert collection. So I would love to see that concept catch on. But let's move on now. You've been very patient through 7 minutes of rock and roll and concert talk. Let's talk baseball, and let's talk your favorite artist and mine and my personal best friend, Scott, over at Reindeer Studios. Just an immensely talented artist. If you're watching this, I'm sure you know about Reindeer Studios, YouTube Hall of Famer. In my opinion, the most talented artist I can think of in our YouTube community here. And more importantly, just an all-around awesome guy. Obviously, we all have limited hobby time, and we can only have so many friends that we keep in touch with on the regular. And Scott is somebody that I've kept in touch with over the years. We don't talk on a weekly basis or anything like that, but we've been in touch now for almost 3 years. And I've mentioned it before, but in the early days of my channel, he voted me, even though it wasn't even a category, he voted me randomly as YouTube Rookie of the Year when he was doing his YouTube Hall of Fame voting. And even though that didn't actually mean anything, it meant the world to me, and it was just so supportive of him to do that. And it really gave me a jolt of motivation that I've ridden to this day, 3+ years in. So I love Scott. And that aside, he is just a super talented artist. I've long admired the commissioned pieces that I've seen him do for others in the community. And I learned recently that he's been doing these Marker Doodle Mondays. And what he does is, by commission, he takes a request, does a marker doodle of a baseball player that he'll send to somebody who's commissioning the work, but he also creates trading card versions, smaller trading card versions of the original artwork, much like these poster cards, and sells them in his Etsy store. And here is an example. I mean, these are just so cool. I almost didn't even want to show these off because I want to be able to buy every one of them that comes out because I love Scott's artwork that much. And I know they're going to get tough here in the future because he only makes 25 copies of each. So here we have the Hawk, Andre Dawson. Again, this was a larger, maybe like a 5x7 marker doodle that Scott did. And then he created 25 smaller copies of this card, sold it in his Etsy store. Now check this out. What's cool about this, the back contains, basically a guarantee that this was made by Scott and that it will only be produced in a quantity of 25 and will never be, reproduced any further. He signs every one and he hand numbers every one. And then the greatest thing about this, Scott is just a genius. On the back of each of these cards is a QR code. And if you scan this QR code, it will bring you to the YouTube episode where he drew this artwork. So anybody that owns this card can just flip it over, visit that QR code, and they can watch this drawing in progress and watch this card come to life. And I just, to me, these are infinitely cool. I'm not a businessman, but Scott, I think you should be charging like twice what you are for these. If you're going to limit them to 25, they're just so awesome. I've gotten so into these that now on Mondays, I am checking his Etsy store constantly, waiting for the next week's, version to drop. So Andre Dawson was the first one that I picked up. I've missed a couple. He had a Paul Skeens, which sold out very quickly. Did get a Miggy. Love this Miguel Cabrera. Look at that. I believe this one went to Lisa Z, of course. Huge Tigers fan. Lisa Zankevich, the original full size. But again, I was lucky enough to get one of the 25 Miggies that are out there. And I just can't say enough about the quality on these. The color, the size, everything's perfect. I just love that touch of having the QR code to the exact video right on the back. There's something so cool about holding this in hand and then being able to go watch it be drawn. I can't say enough good things about Scott. So I've really gotten addicted to these. Here's another one I picked up, and I'm really glad I did because I believe this one sold out relatively quickly as well. Ricky Henderson, look at that. I mean, just fantastic. I couldn't produce something like this if you gave me a month and some training and whatever medium Scott is using, marker set Scott is using here. It wouldn't turn out 1/100th this good. Scott has more talent in his pinky finger than I have in my whole body artistically. And then probably my favorite two are the last two. I should have watched the videos prior to this. It's been really busy. But I believe one or maybe even both of these were commissioned by my buddy Joe, actually, over at Four Soft Corners. But first, this is my personal favorite so far, just because of my hobby history with him and the fact that he was king of the baseball world when I was a kid in the 90s. The Kid, Ken Griffey Jr. How cool is that? I love the caricature style that Scott uses here, but it's very, very unique to him. I mean, I can see one of these and just instantly recognize that it is Reindeer Studios artwork. So The Kid, copy 2/25, my favorite number. Just gorgeous. I could go on and on, but let's show the final card that I have in my Reindeer Studios, my budding Reindeer Studios collection. And that is Stan the Man Musial. This one I know was commissioned for Joe at Four Soft Corners. I think Griffey was as well. But yeah, I hope to continue to be able to buy some more of these, Scott. It's just so cool to be able to support your talent and your endeavor, and at the same time just acquire these really, really cool pieces for my sports card collection. I absolutely love them. Again, I just admire your talent so much, and the job that you're doing full-time now, making sports and sports art your career. It's so admirable, and hope to continue to support you in the future in any way that I can. And that's going to be a wrap on today's video. So we saw some awesome concert-based cardboard, and then just some absolutely stunning artwork from our friend Scott over at Reindeer Studios. I hope you enjoyed this, something a little bit different than what you normally see here on the channel, but I really love this stuff. And as you know, I'll be back soon with some more sports card content. Till then, just keep enjoying the hobby, everybody. Get out there and see a concert if you can. See ya.